You're listening to the Femme Entrepreneur Show, and this is episode 41. In this episode, we're talking about how to make money with webinars. Hey guys, it's Mariah.
And I'm Megan, and I'm really excited for us to chat. I feel like I say that every week, but I'm always really excited about the topics we're talking about. And I think that talking about how webinars can actually make you money is great for people who've never done one before and are kind of confused, but it's also great for those of you who have done webinars but maybe feel like you're not doing it right or making as much money from them as you can. So no matter what boat you're in, I think you're going to learn some good stuff in this episode.
For sure. And I feel like when I first started hearing about webinars, I was like, what? How does that work? Because I couldn't understand. It was like you sign up for them and then you get emails. And then I was like, but how are they making money? Like that was something I think if you're not into it and you don't really know, then like I just was so curious. I was like, I don't understand how they're making money if it's free to sign up. So now I obviously know, and I figured it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing because you get to provide so much value for free, and then when it feels really good, you do get to make sales as well. So today we will go into how webinars work, how they actually make money. A lot of people have asked me like, what even is a webinar? Like how does what makes a webinar as opposed to a class or a paid workshop or something like that. And then we're going to give you 3 tips for making your webinars profitable so that they actually do make money, which is especially helpful if you have been doing webinars but not really getting the results that you've been wanting. Okay. So let's jump in. Let's just talk about how webinars work in like their very basic form. So a webinar is basically a free presentation, right? So the presentation itself, in order to register for the webinar, it doesn't cost anything. It's a free workshop or a free class that people can register for, and it doesn't cost anything. Okay, so that part of it is free. And then during the webinar, you want to present your best, most relevant information for free for about 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so again, you're still in the realm of free. It doesn't cost anything for anybody, and you're offering this to your audience. The way that webinars make money, even though they themselves are free to attend and you're not charging for them, is that at the end of the webinar, you make an offer for a paid product, okay? So this is how you turn something that you're doing for free into sales at the end.
Yeah. And I think we're going to get into a little bit more of like the tips on doing that the right way in a few minutes, but hopefully that clears up the confusion on like how a free webinar turns into money. And people do offer paid workshops like you mentioned. That's kind of like a different realm. So we're focusing on the free webinars that you do to help build your list, build your authority in your industry, become an expert, all those reasons we love webinars. And we're talking about free webinars specifically.
Right. So the free webinar, and then the whole way that this works is that you want to have something that you can offer at the end for people who want to take it to the next level, right? So this could be different depending on what you sell. It could be like, hey, if you liked, you kind of got a taste of what it's like to work with me. If you like working with me, I have a coaching offer or a coaching package you can buy. You can do really well selling services on webinars because you have that sort of better connection, that better personal connection to people who think, wow, I love this presentation. I love the way she talks. I love the way she's explaining things. I would love to work with her one-on-one. You're going to get that a lot. You can also sell a product. You could sell a digital product like a course or a program, which is what we always do. I've also seen people really successfully sell physical products with webinars. So if you're wondering, that's kind of how QVC works, right?
Yeah.
So people are just showing off how to use their products, educating people about their products, showing live demos. It can work really well for that. And of course, webinars can work really well if you are listening, you have a software product or you're working on promoting a software product. Webinars are great because it's really the only way to give like a live demo of how your software works. So whether you sell coaching, services, products, physical products, software, any of those things can really be sold with webinars. And it feels so good to sell on a webinar to me because I really enjoy giving that free value. Like I said, during that time that you are presenting that free information, that 30 to 45 minutes, it's your best stuff, right? It's your best content, your most relevant content that you can share in 30 minutes. Of course, you have more to share in your program. Of course, there's more to be done with your services, but you really want to pack a punch in that 30 to 45 minutes and just blow people away so that they're super excited to work with you. And I just always love selling on a webinar because it feels like, wow, I gave so much value today and people got so much out of it. They're going to walk away with something even if they don't buy. And I always feel good about that, knowing that people are going to walk away with something valuable, even if they choose not to join, which some people, if you've never done a webinar before, not everyone buys. Not everyone who's live with you is going to join and either purchase your service or product, which is totally fine. I remember once a student of ours, I think, just didn't know what to expect. And she was like, upset, and she was like, wait, I did a webinar and every single person didn't buy. And I was like, wait, that's not what's supposed to happen. And I was like, oh no, that's good. And they're like, oh, only 20 people bought of the 30 people who were there. And I'm like, that's amazing. So not every single person is going to buy, but you are giving them the option to keep working with you after the free webinar.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing that you can do is, if not everyone is going to buy live on the webinar, of course, like I just said, but you can also follow up with the people who registered for your webinar. And if they didn't buy live, you can send them a couple of follow-up emails. And then you can also offer them a limited bonus or something like that if they want to sign up during what we call like the limited replay period. So that could be 48 hours after your webinar, they can still join the offer that you made on the webinar. So it's not really over, even when your live webinar ends, that's not all the sales you're going to make. You're going to make more in the follow-up as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just touching on selling on a webinar, to me, it always feels really good too, because you just gave so much stuff that when you get to the pitch, you don't have to feel concerned about it, because you're like, I know I just gave so much free information that I don't feel any kind of internal hesitation or resistance to now trying to get you to buy something. Right. So to me, that can feel it's scary at first, but it feels way better sometimes than just asking for, I don't know, for me at least, when I just ask for the
sale.
Yeah, thanks.
And
so I always like it.
A visceral reaction. It's like a real-time reaction. So a lot of times if you're launching and you're just sending out emails, you can feel like you're bombarding people with emails, or you're not really getting you don't see how people are reacting. You don't see people opening your emails and being like, wow, I love this. 'Cause you're not live with them. But what can happen when you're doing the webinar, I feel like it builds up your confidence to the pitch all the way through the webinar, because you can see the live chat and you see people being like, wow, this is so valuable. Or you see someone commenting like, I'm getting so much out of this. Or a lot of times people will say like, I can't believe this is free. So you'll be building up your confidence throughout the whole 45 minutes that by the time you go to pitch, you're like, oh my gosh, I am amazing and everyone loves this and I'm doing so good. So
yeah, that's so true.
It's really this positive feedback happening throughout the entire webinar that doesn't happen when you're sending emails.
Yeah, I also think webinars are great, not to go off on a tangent, but this will be my last side comment before we move on. But I think it's also great as far as feedback when you're launching a new product, because people will ask you those questions when you've made your pitch. So maybe you left out a hole in your pitch and in your offer of this product, and you didn't realize it. And if you had just sent that information out in an email, those people would have been left hanging with their questions and may or may not have gone through the effort of replying. But since they're there live, they can ask those questions live, and you can realize oh, I need to add this to my emails. I need to make sure this is on the sales page. So it's a really great opportunity to get feedback from that angle also, things you may not have thought about, or questions you may not have thought.
What are you missing, or what's not clear about your offer, and you're going to get that feedback live. And then, like you said, apply it to your sales page, your emails, any other webinars you do in the future. Super smart.
Okay, so that is how webinars work. We gave a few little insights on why we like selling on webinars. But now I want to talk about the 3 tips for how to make your webinar profitable.
Yes. So the first thing that you need to do is right from the get-go, make sure that your promise of the webinar aligns with the pitch and the offer that you're making. So as an example of what not to do, I recently think I saw a webinar that was how to set up your funnel, or how to do this, whatever, how to set up your Facebook ads. And then the offer wasn't like a Facebook ads course or something like that would make sense. It was like how to launch your course or like how to create an online product. And so those two things for me were not aligned at all. It was not like what I was attending the webinar for wasn't actually related to the product they were offering. You could make some sort of squiggly line and connect them, but it wasn't a directly related thing. And what happens is that you end up, if you do that, you make that mistake, you end up attracting people who aren't even looking for what you're offering for your paid course. So definitely make sure that what you are attracting people with your webinar topic is directly aligned with your course topic that you're selling. And you can literally like choose the name of a lesson from your course and make that the name of the webinar, something that's just so spot on, so that there's no confusion about what the offer is.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that the people registering for your webinar are your ideal customer for your product or your service. So you have to go through that and almost backwards in a way, knowing like this is what I'm trying to sell. Like, where is my customer in their journey right now? What questions are they asking? What things are hanging them up right now? So that then I can answer that question, and then they see this whole resource that can answer all their other questions. So I feel like this is a theme with courses as well as just your messaging being on point. And so I think if you ever do a webinar and maybe your conversions are lower than you think, one issue could have been your messaging or like the alignment of your topic and your offer.
Definitely. So our second tip for making sure your webinar is profitable is to make sure that you start the pitch at 30 to 45 minutes into your presentation, no later. Okay, so definitely no later than 45 minutes in do you want to be transitioning into the pitch part of your webinar. The reason for this is that after 45 minutes, you're going to see a real drop off in people who, just because of the timing, they have to go, right? So you're going to have people saying like, oh, I have to go pick up my kids. So sorry, but like I'll watch the replay. And you're like, no, wait, I have a special offer. So what happens is after that 30 to 45 minutes, people have to go and move on. And some people just get bored and leave. So really you want to be respectful of everyone's time and start your pitch at 30 to 45 minutes into your presentation. This is going to allow you to get like get that pitch in front of the most amount of people who are interested in your topic. If they've stayed that long, they're most likely interested.
Yeah, definitely. And the third tip is to make sure this is my favorite, is to make sure you visually show the offer. So on your slides that you're talking over, or if you're maybe doing a screen share, maybe you can show an image on your screen, but how can you make your offer tangible and real? So one of our favorite things to do is every time we're going through the pitch and we're showing different products or bonuses that are included, we have like a mock-up of the actual product. So even if it's a digital product, which most of ours are, it's still a mock-up of it like in a device or like printed out. And so that way they're looking at it and you're not just hearing the words, they can actually start to visually see this value add up. And then the last slide, we have it all there. So it's like, look at
what
all
I call
these
the glamour shot.
Yeah. So I feel like I know for me as a buyer, if I don't have that, I feel like I have a harder time seeing the value in a more tangible way.
Yeah. It's like the principle of show, don't tell, right? Like if it's more effective for you to have a slide that's just a graphic of your digital product or something that is on the entire slide and you're verbally saying what's included than for you to just have bullet points of what the bonus does, right? So showing it like, here's a screenshot of inside this extra bonus PDF, or this is what you're getting. You have to show, don't tell. And that is really going to increase your conversions. I know that when I first started doing webinars, I wasn't really good at this because I didn't have a graphic designer and I'm not really graphically inclined. So I was bad at showing stuff. But once I started adding screenshots, it really did increase people's understanding of what they're getting and seeing everything, even though, because it can be hard to like show a digital product. So you have to do your best to show visuals that represent everything that they're getting. And we do have a checklist for you guys. If you're interested in doing webinars, we have a checklist that goes through everything you need to do leading up to your webinar and then even what to do after your webinar. So what emails to send out after your webinar and the follow-up, which is something that we talked about in the beginning of this episode. If you guys want to download that, it's called the Ultimate Webinar Checklist and it is at at webinarrockstar.co. And you can also
free.
get it in the show notes. Oh, it's free. Totally. Should have said that right away. It's totally free. And you can also get it in the show notes.
Yeah, so if you want to go to thefemshow.com/41, you'll see a fully fleshed out blog post of this. So if you are the type that likes to read things, to digest it, you can go there. You'll also have the links to that ultimate webinar checklist and anything else we mentioned during the episode. And yeah, you don't want to miss out on that webinar checklist. It's a lot of awesome info in there. And if you want to discuss this episode with us and our amazing community of online entrepreneurs, make sure to join our free Facebook group at thefemshow.com/community.
And if you like this episode, you should subscribe to the Femtrepreneur Show on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review when you do, because we appreciate it so much. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you should leave a comment below so that we can talk to you and see what you thought about this episode. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. If you have a question for us that you want Megan and I to answer live on the podcast and give you a shout out, go to thefemshow.com and submit your questions, and we will see you next week.